Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. Just back, with another story. What else is new? Today's story time is pretty serious, actually, and I'll be talking about some things that are very much rated R. So if you are, sensitive to those topics, things like drugs and, hard drugs and partying and stuff like that, click away. And I know a lot of you are probably like, bro, really? A warning? Well, I'm definitely talking about some more serious stuff than I normally do in my videos, and I feel like I have to warn you guys, not only for my own peace of mind, but also if I don't, YouTube will probably take away my monetization and then take away my firstborn child and turn him into AI for Google. I don't know, okay? But I'm just warning you guys. I'm just kidding, YouTube. Please don't strike me for that. I know your AI isn't made up of real human beings. Or is it? Anyway, yeah, today's story time's a crazy one, a serious one. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do, and let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place back when I was 19. I was living in LA at the time, and I had a pretty good group of friends in LA at this point. I definitely wasn't like the outcast I was when I first moved there. I definitely met a lot of new people at this point, and some of them did YouTube just like I did and had careers in it. Some of them didn't do YouTube, and they were just like mutual friends. It didn't matter. They were all just really cool people, and for the most part, I had no issues with them. But there was this one friend in particular that I wasn't the closest with, but we were like, friendly. Let's just call him Jake, okay? Jake I had met through a friend, so he was a mutual friend, kinda. And the thing about Jake is that dude just always wanted to party. I mean, literally, whether it was a Monday or Friday, that dude was just always trying to get into some sort of party situation, whether it was throwing one, whether it was going to one. And of course, alongside of that, that usually meant he was doing drugs. And I'm not talking about like smoking weed or, drinking some alcohol or, whatever. I don't even know if alcohol is considered a drug. Like, he did those things, obviously, but he also did a lot more if you're, picking up what I'm putting down. It involves snorting things up his nose. And it's crazy because I can't even name just one thing. This dude snorted a bunch of stuff. Not just what you're probably thinking, but just a bunch of stuff. So, like, yeah, anything you could think of that can go up your nose, he probably did it. And I didn't do stuff like that, I tended to just kind of, maybe smoke a little weed here and there, but that was about it. So, whenever he was doing stuff like that, I kind of tended to stay away. And, I obviously encourage you guys to do that as well if you got friends that are doing shit like that. But, yeah, other than that, he was a really nice guy. So whenever there was a chance I could catch him out and he wasn't doing that kind of stuff, I always would because he was a really nice guy. And underneath all of the partying and drugs and stuff, like, I knew that he was probably just a damaged soul. Like, a lot of these people that you see doing shit like that usually have a lot of problems in their own life that they're trying to escape, and that's why they're partying all the time. So yeah, like, I felt bad for him in a way, and I didn't want to write him off as like a bad person just because of what he was doing. So yeah, I never really did. So one day in LA, it was a Thursday, I was in my room, laying in bed, scrolling Twitter, just on my phone. I had just woken up. It was like 3 p.m. It was just very, very late in the day. And I get a FaceTime call from none other than Jake. I'm like, okay, Jake never FaceTimes me. This is weird. I'll answer it. Maybe it's an emergency. So I answer it, and he looks fucked up. Not like he was on something, but like he was coming down from something. And that was the first thing I said to him. I was like, yo, you look like shit. And he's like, thanks, you look beautiful too. And I'm like, shut up, man, you know what I mean. He's like, yeah, I know, dude. I'm hungover as fuck. And I was like, shit, partying last night? He's like, yep. I'm like, bro, it was a Wednesday. Where do you go on a Wednesday to get fucked up? He's like, I know some people. And I'm like, yeah, apparently. And he's like, yeah, well, anyway, I'm trying to do it again. You want to do something tonight? And I was like, tonight, bro? It's a Thursday. He's like, I know what day of the week it is, Austin. I have a fucking calendar. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know anyone that's going to come out on a Thursday. Usually it's Friday or Saturdays and all my friends come out. And he's like, bro, I'm sure we got some people that'll hang out on a Thursday. I'm not trying to like get fucked up or have a huge party. I just want to like hang out with some people. And I'm like, all right, man. Yeah, I got you. I was like, you want to hang out at my apartment or your house tonight? He's like, my house. I got some more space so we can have more people. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. He's like, all right, bet. Like, come here at like 7. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So we hang up. I text a bunch of my homies, mutual friends of ours and stuff, just being like, hey, we're going to Jake's house at 7, having a little bonfire, having a little party, not like a huge thing, just some, low-key thing, right? And surprisingly, a bunch of my homies were down. Usually they didn't want to like go and do anything unless it was the weekend, but a lot of them were cool with it. So fast forward to 7 p.m., we all got there. It was a little bit bigger than a small party. I'd say probably like 15, 20 people. So like definitely not small, but not huge either. Definitely like a medium-sized little get-together. And it was essentially just a big bonfire. And for the most part, it started off pretty chill. just, hanging around a bonfire, smoking a blunt because it was California and it was legal there and you could just kick it and enjoy it. Everything was great, honestly. Well, unfortunately, like an hour into it, Jake started getting a little bit too crazy. And what I mean by that is he didn't want to just smoke anymore and chill around the fire. He started trying to get a bunch of our homies to do lines with him. He was like, come on, let's just do one. Let's just do one. And all my friends were saying the same shit I was on the phone earlier. They were like, dude, it's Thursday. Some of us got to work tomorrow. Like, I can't be out that late doing that shit. Like, that's crazy. And Jake was getting mad. He was like, come on, bro. Like, I'm just trying to have fun. Like, I just want to do one line, bro. One. And all of us were kind of looking at each other like, nah, this ain't it anymore. Like, this isn't fun. And I'm sure some of you are wondering, what was he trying to do? Like, what was the drug that he was trying to get everyone to do? It rhymes with Boke. There's a soda named after it. Coca-Cola, abbreviated. Rhymes with soak, dope, hope. I think you get the point. I could say it, I'm just being a troll. But yeah, you already know. He was, the infamous white powder that everybody knows about. Well, he ends up begging a bunch of us, even me, knowing that I never do that shit, to do it with him, and everyone says no. And finally, he just has like his Thanos moment, and he's like, fine, I'll just do it myself. So he like turns around and goes in the house, comes back out with his little bag, and he had this like tray in his other hand, and he put it on his lap, and he gets the powder on there, and he makes a line, and he takes $1, rolls it up, and just snorts that shit up his nose, super quick. And it was not a small amount. It was a pretty big amount that he snorted. And, dude, it was literally like some shit you would see in a movie. I mean, immediately. I'm talking like not even 5 to 10 seconds after he like snorted this shit up his nose. He looks at all of us with like this look of fear on his face and just drops face down to the ground, completely out cold. And obviously, we immediately all freak the fuck out. We like roll him over. We're checking his pulse. One of my friends is already on the phone with 911. Like, we are tweaking out because we think our friend just died. And my one friend's like checking his pulse, and he's like, dude, I can't feel a pulse. I can't feel a pulse, bro. Like, what do I do? What do I do? And we're like doing chest compressions and shit before 911's even on the phone. Like, it was not good. It was terrifying on every front. Like, it was scary. And on the phone with 911, we're telling them what happened. They're telling us what to do. Basically what we already were doing. And that was like chest compressions and CPR. And we were very lucky that Jake lived not far from a hospital and not far from the police in general. So the ambulance got there very quick. The first responders, like, very fast. Probably about 4 to 5 minutes. Like, very quick. And they got him loaded up on the ambulance. And we were just terrified because my friend, like, claimed he couldn't feel a pulse. At certain points, he thought he might have felt one, but it was really weak. But we just couldn't tell. Like, essentially, we didn't know if our friend was dead or not. And that was terrifying. Now, when the paramedics got there and they loaded him up, they asked us, like, what happened. And we kind of already told the operator on the phone everything, but we told them as well, obviously. We just told him, like, he'd been doing drugs, and we don't know what exactly was in his system before he did that line, but he did a line, and it was a pretty big one. And yeah, we just essentially told them everything that we knew because we wanted our friend to get the best care possible based on the situation. And yeah, they got him to the hospital, and we didn't hear anything for a while. We went to the hospital. A lot of us had to stay in the waiting room because they had like a visitor policy. And his family got there. It was his mom and his dad. They lived like 30 minutes away. They came. And it was just very, very scary because none of us knew what was going to happen. But luckily, about an hour after getting to the hospital, his mom and his dad came out with really good news. He didn't die, at least not permanently. He might have for a little bit when we were at the fire. But in the hospital, they were able to like stabilize him essentially. And they were able to find out what happened. And essentially, he had a heart condition that nobody knew about, even him. He did not know that he had this because he'd never been tested for it. But all the drugs he was doing and putting in his system aggravated that heart condition very quickly, and it made it worse. And when he did that line at the party, he had cardiac arrest, which is essentially just your heart stopping beating. I don't know how he lived, to be honest. Maybe it was the CPR. Maybe it was the fact that the police were so close. Maybe his heart didn't stop beating right away. I don't know. Honestly, I really do not know. Okay, I just stopped recording this to go call my friend and ask and like get some more details. So I guess he did get revived in the ambulance. So the dude did just die essentially. and they brought him back with a defib in the ambulance, the defibrillators or whatever. So yeah, pretty insane. Anyway, back to the story. But he survived by a fucking miracle. He was able to essentially be brought back, stabilized, and he didn't have insane lasting effects from it, which is pretty rare. A lot of people have like brain damage from lack of oxygen, like very serious things. And in the beginning, he kind of did. Like through recovery, I'd say the first like month he was out of the hospital and like back home, he didn't remember certain things. He had like holes in his memory. But it seemed like over time they came back, which was good. And obviously he stopped doing drugs. He didn't do anything moving forward. And that was pretty much all he needed to do, was just stay off drugs and take care of his heart. And that's what he did. And he didn't want to do drugs ever again because that was scary enough. Like the dude kind of like temporarily died, I think. I don't know, dude. The whole situation to this day like blows my mind. But it taught me, all my friends, and him a valuable lesson. And that is to stay away from the shit that he was doing. Anything that goes up your nose, anything that's a pharmaceutical, that's made in a lab, any hard drug, you get it. Stay away from it, dude, for real. Even other things nowadays that are claiming to be more natural are just as dangerous as some of these pills. So, you know, stay away from that shit, guys, because I don't want y'all ending up like Jake. But yeah, guys, in the end, Jake ended up being okay. He got off the drugs, which is great news. And to this day, me and him are still friends, and he is very much healthy now. He still has that heart condition, but now they monitor it, and he, like, you know, keeps on top of it essentially and knows what to do to treat it. So, yeah, he's living a much better life than he was back then. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
I be fully loaded, I be whipping foreign cars. Always stay devoted, mama knew I'd be a star. Now I'm steady flowing, feeling like I'm high as Mars. I'ma keep on going, I'ma always raise the bar. Told me I could not do it, look